A phenomenal levels test for Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell as he tries to get his 15th straight win. He's 14-0, yet to be tested, and has been essentially dominating all of the opponents he's seen thus far. I mean, he smoked Andre Feely, smoked Charles Rosa before that, Matt Sales, and a couple other guys before that. And this is a true test against Edson Jr. Barboza, who we know as one of the most lethal dynamic strikers in the UFC. He is coming off a recent loss to Giga Chikadze where he just got overwhelmed. He got outclassed on the feet. Giga had a really standout performance in that one, and it was very impressive given what Edson had done previously in this new division. I mean, you can't even say it's a new division anymore, but in this division of 145, because he smoked Shane Burgos, right? It was that delayed KO where Burgos like was knocked out, and then it was I don't even know how to describe it. It was just a KO, I suppose, but that was an impressive win for Barboza. And then when he smoked Makwan Amirkhani before that, and then the only loss he had at 145 was to Dan Ige. It was a split decision. A lot of people thought Edson Barboza won that fight. So what Giga was able to do to him was pretty. That stood out to me, and you wonder if Barboza is going to have enough to take out Bryce Mitchell, who a lot of people think is like him and Evloev and maybe a couple Topuria maybe are sort of like the future of this 145 division. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that Mitchell, just like he does with all of his other opponents, is going to go right through Junior Edson Barboza, or is Barboza going to maybe like catch him with a head kick and sleep the Arkansas fighter? What do you think?
Yeah, no, man, this if there's a level test for any newcomer in the UFC, Barboza's the man. So this is going to be a make or break to see if, you know, if Mitchell's the real deal, like everybody is saying he is. This is going to be such a tough fight. I'm very curious to see how Barboza handles his ground pressure because, as we've seen, Bryce Mitchell is a monster on the ground, and he has absolutely dominated, like not even close, not even competitive when it hits the mat. Standing up, I would say he looks very good. He still has a very strong stand-up game. I haven't seen really anybody outclass him or outstrike him, but also he usually doesn't even let it get to that point because he takes him down and absolutely smothers or hits him with a little twist. But Barboza's a veteran. He's seen it all. It's a matter of pure strength and skill. I feel like if or snipage, if he's able to get rid of Bryce early and often with one of those beautiful kicks. Man, I got to take Bryce Mitchell. I'm pretty high on Bryce Mitchell with the hype on him, and I truly think that Barbosa is about to get a little twister, and I think he's going to get submitted really early and dominate. Maybe even a ground and pound TKO first or second round. I really don't see this going to decision. If it goes the decision, I will be on my feet worried, biting my fingernails that Edson might catch him with an absolute roundhouse kick to the freaking dome, and his soul might be sent to the Shadow Realm. Hopefully that doesn't happen because Bryce Mitchell's a high prospect, and Barbosa is a great levels test. So I'm very excited to see this, but I got to take Bryce in this.
Great levels test, and I cannot wait to see how this plays out as well. And 40% of the Tapology community is rolling with Barboza, and about 30% of it is Brown. So they tend to think that that sort of YOLO knockout would be the most likely pathway for Edson Barboza. And you mentioned like the later this gets, maybe not the sketchier, but the more you're biting your fingernails. I mean, Barboza truly is a threat at any moment in the contest. So the more minutes you give him to catch you with some sort of crazy wheel kick, the more dangerous it could become for sure. But you mentioned Mitchell, right? We know what he's trying to do. He's going to try and get Barboza to the mat. And historically, I mean, if we look at a lot of Barboza's losses, he has struggled against, very strong wrestler, grappler types, right? I mean, he lost to Michael Johnson, unanimous. Got submitted by Tony Ferguson, another standout wrestler. Got dominated by Khabib, lost to Kevin Lee, and even in that split decision loss to Dan Ige, was taken down a couple times. So we know that this is a sort of wrinkle in his game, and we know Bryce Mitchell is likely to try and expose that. So I'm with you. I mean, I'm always a fan of Junior Barbosa, but that last fight from Bryce Mitchell made me enough of a believer. I still don't know if this is a guy who is going to be able to, test OGM, if he's going to be able to test Max Holloway. But I do think that he'll be able to get through Edson Barboza in this one. And 60% of Tapology is rolling with the Meat Boys. I think you mentioned, a decent sliver of it going for that submission. You think there's any way that this thing goes the distance, or are you pretty sold that if and when Bryce gets this done, that it's going to be by finish?
Yeah, I'm pretty sold that it's going to be done by finish.
Hmm.
But I mean, worst case, I think he's gonna get a decision. He's winning this no matter what. But I will be just on my toes if it does go decision because you just never know. But yeah, I'm hoping that Mitchell gets it done. I like him in this, and I like to see where he goes because I really want to see him versus other top prospects in the division. And this is a great test to see if he's ready for those guys.
I do too, right? And yeah, I'm very excited. It's like what, how good is Bryce Mitchell? You'll learn a lot against a guy like Edson Barboza. So I'm with you all the way. I'm gonna go Bryce Mitchell. I'm gonna go Bryce Mitchell by decision, though. I think that ultimately Barboza is gonna be able to survive this thing, and it's just gonna look like a typical Bryce Mitchell affair where he takes you down, he smothers you, he keeps you there, and he does so throughout the entire contest, start to finish. So I think it's gonna be one-sided, but I don't know. I can see Barboza surviving this and not succumbing to a submission or TKO. But I mean, there's that small sliver for that Brown, and you mentioned the maybe ground and pound TKO. If that's such a slight sliver from Tapology, you're probably going to be getting plus 500, plus 600, maybe even greater for a Bryce Mitchell TKO, and that's not the craziest thing in the world. So might be worth sprinkling your sauce on that if you're feeling kind of froggy. So I got Bryce Mitchell by decision though. So any last thoughts?
Nope. Yeah, boys, make sure you smash.